want to start with, or you want to just do questions?
Excited to be here. This is my first time here in New York and at UBS Arena, so really excited to take in a game here. I've seen New York play a few times already in other locations, but yeah, excited to take the game in today and celebrate what we're starting with Women's History Month.
All right, who's going to get us started today? Brave hand. All right.
Jennifer Williams, Fox 5 New York. How do you evaluate the success of the league at this point in the season?
I would say that we're thrilled with the launch. I keep looking at the calendar. We're only 2 months in, so keeping things in perspective that it's still early. But I would say that we've outpaced all of our projections as it relates to attendance and I think media coverage and sponsorship and merchandise sales, all those areas. So I think we couldn't be happier with how we've launched, but we also know there's a lot of work to do, and we're going to work really hard to continue the momentum that's been created so far.
Jeff.
Joe Pantorno in New York. Just how vital of a role is New York going to play in all this to really make sure that this kind of permeates the landscape and really sticks moving forward?
Well, obviously, New York is one of the best cities in the world, and I'm Canadian, but really believe in the importance of New York and what New York means and the sporting community here. So I think this is a really important market for us. We knew it would be challenging because there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of professional sports teams here, and it's a big market. But we believe in the product we're presenting and how it can be different and innovative and a new property for people to fall in love with. So really excited about this market and know that we're going to have to work hard here, but we're excited to be in this market.
Go ahead.
Hi, Dennis Gordon from Newsday. To follow up on Joe's point, one of the things that Pascal and PWHL New York, the players and coaches have said is it's been a challenge for them trying to develop two different sort of fan bases simultaneously. Long term, does the league need or want one kind of home for the team, or are you content with the situation as is?
I would say long term, it would be wonderful to think, we have our own home somewhere. But I think in the short term, I think we look at the opportunities we have to expose our game and our team to different markets. And so I think there can be a real positive in what we're doing here. And yes, there's challenges attached to that, but there's also opportunity. So, in year 1 and 2 months in, we're going to continue to make sure people know who we are, they're aware of the team, they start to learn the players, fall in love with the players and the game and the league. And so long term we'll get there, but I think right now we look at it as an opportunity.
Down here on the right.
Sean Carlson, WNYC. Are there any plans to bring more fans to the stadium next season, given the attendance at games in New York and Connecticut versus, say, the Midwest and Canada, where we've seen more fans?
So is the question more games or more fans?
Fans in the seats.
Yeah, that's our goal in every single market, and even in some of our markets that have smaller venues. Toronto as an example, we've sold out every game, every home game from when they went on sale. But that doesn't mean we're not still continuing to work hard to drive attendance there. And we had a chance to play in Scotiabank Arena and sold that out. And so every single market, we're trying to build our brand, bring our fan base with us and increase that fan base. So that's no different here.
JJ Pavlik, Bad Dog Sports. Have you guys reached out to the other pro women's teams in the area to try help marketing the team and increasing attendance?
There's some great relationships within our organization to those organizations, including Amy Shear, who's here and leads our business operations. So really good relationship and respectful of everything that the NWSL has done, the WNBA, and we continue to look at them as leaders and as folks that have launched women's professional sport and trying to take lessons from them and key learnings and continue to build our own brand and our own league. So absolutely look to them and communicate with them, and we think there's a real opportunity to build women's sport, not just women's hockey, and we want to be a part of that.
Hey, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jayna. I'm at Columbia University. I was wondering, obviously the league is like a huge opportunity for these players, but I was wondering, I know it's early days, but what are like the biggest challenges that you think players will face in this league, or the ways that, like what pressures are they facing, or the ways gameplay will change, or, yeah.
I think probably the biggest challenge for the players has been the transition to a full-time professional league. There's many players that had to leave home, relocate, some cross-border. learning, how to be professional athletes, how to compete 2-3 times a week with the travel that's on top of that. And as hockey players, it's been very much focused in the past on the national teams and world championships and Olympic games, and not a full season like we've presented this year. So I think those are probably the biggest challenges for them, is just sort of getting comfortable with the intensity, the volume, and the challenging schedule that some of them have in front of them.
Perry, I'm going to go to Perry and then I'll come to you.
Hi, Perry Sook, Pix 11 Sports. As we know, especially here in New York, but I think almost everywhere, winning kind of begets a following. As you look at your Market One team that sits at the bottom of the table, what are the thoughts hockey-wise, for dispersion to create more parity in the league going forward? We have the draft in other sports, redistribution of talent. What can we do from a hockey's perspective to add that parity, especially to get a Market One team kind of higher up there on the table?
I would argue that we have a lot of parity in the league, and when you actually look at the standings in a 3-point system, a regulation win can move teams pretty quickly in this. And I would say that, coming out of the gates, New York came out really strong, and I think they've struggled a bit lately, but by no means, I don't think any team in our league is out of that playoff run right now. And so I think we're really proud of the parity, and we'll continue to ensure that exists, because that's a really important part, especially of a 6-team league. So of course the drafts will happen to ensure that there's dispersal amongst players to create that, but the competitiveness and the parity that exists, I think, is really strong in this league. And I by no means think that New York isn't right in the mix here.
Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but has there been any discussion about one day, as the league continues to grow, having one team in New York and one team in Bridgeport?
I could say that hasn't been a discussion yet, but again, we're learning every single day in every game, and I don't think anything's off the table. We're not afraid to look at maybe unique situations. So not something on the table right now, but we've got a lot to work out over the next months and years to continue to build the league, and I don't think we would ever close our minds to any option.
Following up on that, if that hasn't been discussed, what kinds of things have been discussed for the future of this league for season 2?
Well, there's a lot of focus on just launching the league, and as many of you probably know, in 6 months was a remarkable feat, I think, and task. And so we were very much focused on the present, and only recently have we been able to lift our heads a little and think towards year 2, 3, 4, and 5, and potentially even beyond. But I think our focus still remains on the foundation that we're building and the strength of where we're at right now. So we want to continue to, to your earlier point, ensure the competitiveness, the parity. We're working on draft for next year. We're working on what a schedule looks like moving into year 2 with a bit more time. We're looking into what venues we should be in various markets. And again, there's nothing off the table right now. We want to continue to build, and we're only 2 months into the season, so we have a lot of learnings left to go this season, but we'll address issues that we think need to change in advance of season 2.
Jeff?
Just personally for you, maybe thinking back to your playing days, did you ever think that this sport would get to a point here where you're maybe on the precipice of establishing something really special here?
I always hoped. I don't think we were anywhere near what this has become, and so it's been really exciting to be a part of it, and really excited for the players that get to be a part of it and get to experience it. And I'm really proud to be able to be someone who helps build that as well. So, sometimes when I think in that sort of mindset, I think about, maybe the time was never right until now. And when you look at when we launched this year, I just think a whole lot of things aligned. We have an ownership group. I don't think we could have found a better ownership group that aligns more closely with our values and our beliefs and our vision of what this could be. We're at a point in time with women's professional sport where the demand is real, and that's been shown time and time again. We have all the best players here in one league, and so a lot of the stars have aligned, and I might argue that if it happened sooner, it may not have been what this has become. And we have a long way to go still, but I think the timing has been perfect for this.
Heather Sean, spectator. So, you mentioned the draft. There's a lot of excitement about this new draft system and draft eligibility. There's possibly a lot of prospects coming out of college programs, NCAA and whatnot. Is there an interest from the league to help these players develop, these younger players develop, if they don't eventually, or not eventually, immediately make rosters?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing that we've been thinking a lot about. And, in the 6 months we had to launch a league, we simply didn't have the capacity to also build a minor league system or a player development system. So that is absolutely on the table in the coming years to figure out what that looks like, because each year we're going to welcome more and more high-level athletes into this league, and we need to find a way to help them develop. So that's something that we're currently, I think that's a big challenge that sits in front of us, that we're currently looking at what options might exist to satisfy that need to develop players that do get drafted moving forward.
Dennis?
So, I know NHL players have shown up for PWHL games. Is there kind of a working sort of relationship that the league has with the NHL? And just how has that gone for you guys so far?
We have a really great relationship with the NHL, and they've been incredibly helpful as we've launched this. And again, under the timelines that we've done it, we really needed people to step up and help support and be a part of that. And their partnership has been really critical. And I think sometimes just the behind the scenes things that many folks don't see, but whether that's building out medical standards and relying on people that have been there and done that. Our officiating program, we have some leaders from the NHL and the AHL who have helped set that up. Player safety department. These things have all been done before. They weren't things we had to reinvent. And so we've leaned on people that have the experience in doing that. And the NHL has been incredible. Of course, we collaborated with the NHL All-Star Weekend with them, and that was an incredible weekend to showcase women's hockey and hockey. And so we will continue to work together with the NHL to grow the sport, because it's, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is grow hockey for everyone.
And just to follow up, has there been any kind of conversation about having a women's outdoor game kind of in conjunction with the Winter Classic or a Stadium Series or a Heritage Classic?
There's been multiple discussions about what that could look like. So we'll continue to explore every opportunity, and I think it's something that we really haven't done in the women's game in a big way. So it would be something that would be exciting to do at some point. But again, it has to be at the right time for us and in the right moment that works for both groups to make sure it's a successful event.
If you had one statement to kind of summarize the mission of how you're expanding this brand and raising the awareness, what would be A, the status of it right now, and B, what is the main impetus to getting more butts in seats and growing awareness of this league?
I mean, right now, I think it's about the energy. And in our buildings, the fans that we have, they bring energy every single night. They are so happy to be a part of this. They're grateful to be a part of this. They've been waiting years to have something like this, and we have an incredibly loyal fan base. So I think right now it's about the energy that exists. Moving forward, I think it's about opportunity and inspiration. And, for every young girl that wants to be a part of the game, there's a future for her in it. And it may be in the media, it may be as a player, it may be as a coach, maybe as an official, but now there's opportunities that exist. And even more broadly than that, I think exposing women's professional sport to young boys as well is something that, this next generation is much different. Their expectations are different, and we're developing fans at a very young age that hopefully will be loyal fans for a long time to come. So we want to inspire people to think, outside the box and beyond what currently exists, and sort of reinvent what hockey could mean to people.
Jaden?
With the player pool being bigger than the slots available and the pro level, Buffalo and Connecticut both lost their teams going into this league. Is there any kind of timeline that you guys have roughly on when you want to expand to create more slots?
Not really, I don't think. And at this point, I think we want to be really smart and strategic about how we grow, because when you grow too fast, there can be challenges in that too. And so we've always talked about the depth of talent in this league, and it needs to remain incredibly high. We're still a growing sport, an evolving sport. And so I don't think we're in a rush to expand. But we'll see how it goes. It's, we're 2 months in again. There's been a lot of excitement, and we'll see how that continues to grow over year 1, year 2, year 3. But again, everything's on the table. So we also, as we talked about earlier, maybe some sort of a development system down the line works out as well. And we have markets that would host those teams. So, still unclear on what that looks like in the timeline of that. But I think there's a lot of great markets certainly in North America that would love to have a women's professional hockey team.
Yes.
There's a lot of energy online for the league. With the YouTube games, a lot of people watch those and comment on those. on the New York games, the Pizza Rats seems to be a fan favorite for what the name of this team is going to be. Do we have an idea of when we might have names for the teams, or if Pizza Rats will be the New York team?
Again, everything's on the table, but it's, again, like many other things in progress. As launching the league, we had things that needed to happen and things that would be nice to happen, and we got to the understanding that maybe names weren't necessary in year one. And I think now in hindsight, people have really taken to PWHL New York and others, and it's been great to build the brand of the PWHL. But certainly having team names is on the docket moving forward, and just don't have a timeline to share right now.
Any final questions? Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you, Jayna.
Thank you.